All right. So this is why I'm personally investing around $6,000 a month into the S&P for hopefully at least the next few decades, with the goal by the end of this year to reach about $10,000 to $12,000 a month investing. So firstly, I just want to get this out of the way. This isn't financial advice. This isn't any type of financial advising. I'm just simply trying to show you and tell you what I'm doing, my opinions on more or less where I see the market going, hopefully based on what's happening with everything politically, tech-wise, everything. And it's more or less my plan to just build my wealth to 8 figures. So if you're interested in doing the same, I just encourage you to take a listen, think what you can, and hopefully mirror it to your goals. So first things first, it's very simple. For those who don't know what the S&P 500, most of you probably do, it's very simply just the batch of the 500 largest American companies in a basically index, in a portfolio that is just gathered all around on a percentage basis to hedge against the risk of individual stocks. So this was founded, I believe, or at least heavily founded by Jack Bogle. I'm huge on Jack Bogle. He's the founder of Vanguard. Search him up. I have studied him vigorously these last, I'd say 6 to 12 months. He's just such an interesting guy to talk to. He's extremely sharp. I highly recommend checking out some interviews with him. But he basically just talks about basically the chances of you beating the market, I think, is like 15% or 12% or something. And he talks about how hedge funds underperform the market so drastically that it's laughable. And listen, I've tried my hand at individual stocks. I just somehow pick the absolute crappiest ones. I get screwed every time. I've picked individual stocks that literally get delisted, meaning I lose everything. It's honestly laughable. And every single time that happens, I'm just like, God damn it, I should have just invested more into the S&P. So I know it's extremely boring, but that is my point number one. And the reason why I'm doing it, it's diversity, right? It's a hedge. And for those who know me, I'm big into businesses. I want to take risks with my active income sources, my companies that I'm involved in. Business and just entrepreneurship in general is so stupidly risky, right? If I want to take on any risk, I want to have as much control over it as possible. That's why I'm very active with business, right? But then there's this huge risk that with creating something like that, it could go to zero. Things could come crashing down at really any moment. Now, the chances are slim if you build up the right systems, but also the chances of you building the next Fortune 500 company is next to nothing, right? And I do not, in that case, want all my eggs in one basket. That's why I'm so bullish, so interested and heavy in the S&P. I'm more or less, when you're investing in the S&P, or really most of these top 5 companies or top 500 companies and these other ones that you may pick individually, you're betting on America, right? You're betting on American businesses. And to be honest with you, I don't see those failing anytime soon. I think if anything, they're going to continue taking off. I think there is risk with what's happening with AI, what's happening with these different verticals right now. And it's not going to be all smooth sailing, I believe, but it is interesting. So that's why I'm taking it. That goes right into point number 2. It's just the simplicity and the passiveness and just just looking at my portfolio, right? The S&P is so damn simple and easy to learn. I can wake up every single day and know my net worth down to the penny if I wanted to, right? And I could also liquidate that entire thing, have all of it in my account within 24 to 48 hours, right? With other asset classes like real estate, with, bonds or whatever, right? The value is unknown. And you'll get 3 different opinions from 3 different realtors saying, yeah, it could sell for 500 grand. It could sell for 515. It could sell for 580. When in reality, it's worth what the market, or in this case, the buyer, will pay for it, period. I don't care about your opinions. And then even then, right? This is the issue. You have Joe Smith saying, awesome, the property is great, but I need this condition, this closing time, and you're not going to see any of that money to 3 to 5 months. So are you interested? And it's like, I know I'm oversimplifying, and I know there's millions to be made in real estate. I've heard the quotes of the average millionaire, or 8 out of 10 millionaires are made through real estate. Listen, I get it. Okay, I'm not denying that fact, but I think in recent years, things have changed drastically with the market, with illiquidity problems, with interest rates, all that kind of stuff. And I'm not against it. I probably will own some real estate at some point, but I just love the simplicity of stocks, and everyone could set up an account and get started tomorrow if they wanted to. I can't say the same confidently for real estate, right? So anyways, I just think the flexibility, the liquidity, all these different types of things is why I'm so interested in the stock market in general. Number 3, arguably my most important and my most favorite, is compounding, right? There's a reason Buffett said compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. It is genuinely, it's a bit of a mind screw. I'm trying not to swear. It's a bit of a mind F when what happens with just these two small little things called time and patience, that if you just leave your money there and you just invest the right amount, I pulled up some numbers. I might throw some screenshots here on the screen in a little bit, but if you invested just 50 grand into the S&P 30 years ago, based on the average historical return, call it, let's say 10%. I believe that's what it is before inflation. With dividends reinvested, you'd likely have a little over $1 million today. That's without having to add anything, not an additional penny, just literally 50 G's back 30 years ago. And you would have that much. Now, again, this goes back to my first point. Do I think the market will continue to perform at a frickin' 16 to 20, 25% every single year? Absolutely not. I actually hope it doesn't, because my belief is just like, if something comes up quick, it's going to go down, or it has the opportunity to go down just as quick. And I don't want that, right? This is my retirement plan. I don't want to screw myself and have things, going on a rocky roller coaster every night and day, and I'm waking up to different swings in my portfolio, right? I just want the conservative 7 to 10% a year. That's what I'm betting on for my retirement, is 7 to 10% per year invested, compounded annually. That's it. That's all I care about, right? And in my case, $6,000 a month invested for the next 14 years, which 14 years, I'm 26, my 40s, which is coming up extremely, extremely quickly. And I want some serious, financial freedom at that point, at a 9.5%, 9.5 return, not including dividends. I'll be sitting on 2.3 million around that time. And then in another 13 years, by the time I'm 50, give or take, I'll be sitting on just under 8 million if I'm patient enough. And I don't plan to touch this money at all. I have this running joke. You guys have probably heard this before. I would literally rather go homeless than disrupt compounding, right? So many people, they get some nice returns after a year or two. They don't build the right emergency funds, or they don't have the right cash flow. And they're like, well, now I need this money to go buy a car. It's like, what are you talking about? You're ruining everything. You don't need to buy a car right now, or at least a brand new car. If you need to buy something outright in cash, it's a used beater. It'll get you from point A to B. Trust me, I'm a car guy more than anyone. Trust me. But I would much rather have my freedom and my financial stability than being stupid on a car and trying to prove to people, from people I don't even care about, right? So just be careful on this stuff. Like I said, I'm going to throw up some screenshots. I'll show you what this looks like, but this will be a separate video. I really do want to make a video on just even how far $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $1,200 a month, whatever you can comfortably put in the market every single year, how far that goes after a certain long enough time period. It gets to a point where your monthly contributions are literally irrelevant. After 20, 30 years, you don't even need to contribute anymore. You literally just let that thing ride out on its own, and you will crush it that way. The market will do the work for you. Your money works harder than you ever will, right? That's the point that I'm trying to get to. And obviously, having high cash flow, having a business, all this kind of stuff is helpful. Yes, that's why I recommend starting a business and freelancing and service companies and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, this is my hedge. This is me, not putting all my eggs in one basket, being smart, betting with America. And it's like when people say well, I don't see the S&P doing this, or I don't see the American stock companies or stocks doing this. It's like, well, you're betting against Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, Bezos, Sam Altman. Do you want to bet against those people? The people who are absolutely ruthless, who will give anything to be successful? I personally wouldn't, right? So that's just my opinion. So again, quick but short, hopefully valuable and informative video. I want you to leave a comment below with what you're investing in, what your plan is, and I will engage as much as possible, as I always do. As always, if you've made it this far, I want to see you win. Thank you, guys.